Hey guys, Brian Prahl again, another episode of our Top Producer Series. I've got with me a special guest today. This is actually my personal coach, really good friend of mine, somebody that I've respected for as long as I've been a loan officer, which is 10 years now in the industry. And I've been watching him and his company coach and grow other loan officers and just honestly been benefiting from the content that he puts out. But Carl White is the founder of the Mortgage Marketing Animals, an absolute stud when it comes to sales mindset, sales activities, coaching, what us as lenders and realtors need to be doing to generate business and to grow our businesses. And I wanted to have him on here because honestly, I just value his content as much as anybody that we've interviewed, and I wanted to get that out to you guys. So, Carl, thank you very much for being here with me today, man.
Dude, it's an honor. By the way, I thought you were my coach. I get confused sometimes on our call because it's like, dude, it's like some rapid fire, great ideas coming from both directions. So it's an honor to be a part of your podcast, brother. I've heard great things about it, by the way. So it's a true honor.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. And honestly, as we discussed, the intent of these videos is to get out to realtors, just tactical, implementable ideas, tactics, thoughts around sales in general, and specifically the real estate industry. We've got some crises that we're dealing with as a nation now that might change the way that we market and generate business a little bit. But from what I've thought and learned from you and from other people is that honestly, it doesn't change what our activities need to be on a daily basis very much. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're a real estate agent today, what are you doing now to generate business?
I think and I think you've mentioned this on some of your past episodes. The reason why these kinds of things will keep coming up because it still works, right? For me, it's like I sit down and I go, what's working? Like figure that out part. It's everything's 80-20, that we all know that 20% of our activity gives us 80% of our results. So 20% of my activity, or 20% as you're listening to this day, 20% of your activity as a real estate agent is responsible for 80% of your listings, 80% of your buyers. And so it's really, for me, it's just a simple mechanism of figuring out what is that 20% for me, for you, as you're listening to this, what is that 20%? And just do that more often. And the other 80%, which is equally as important, by the way, figure out what's the 80% of what I'm doing that's only giving me 20% of my results, figure out what that is, and either, I call it read it, either reduce it, eliminate it, automate it, or delegate it. Frankly, a lot of it can be eliminated. I find in my own business, I can eliminate a lot of my practice and just spend more times doing what's already working. And that's easier said than done, by the way, because I think sometimes we do activities that keeps us busy. And I got a dear friend of mine, Scott Hudspeth, Scotty. I got a dear friend of ours, always reminds me, he says, Carl, if you're busy, you're doing it wrong. If you're busy, you're doing it wrong. And man, that's dead on. So I think for most people, we go, all right, the 80-20, what's the 20? For most of us that's been doing this for any length of time, frankly, it's probably marketing to our past database. Because I got a friend of mine that owns a restaurant down the road here in I'm in Tampa Bay area, here in the Palm Harbor area, called Thirsty Marlin, name of the restaurant, shameless plug. I'll be sure to have him write us each a check for $100 for doing that. I remember one time about 15 years ago, he told me something that really changed the dynamics of the way I do my business. He said, Carl, it is so much easier to get somebody to come to my restaurant the second time than it is the first time. And I thought about that and I said, well, that's a pretty smart message there. And so it's getting repeat business and repeat referrals from the people that already did business with us. And here's the funny thing, Brian. Even if the first time it didn't go so well, even if something went wrong, even if there was a major hiccup, minor hiccup, major hiccup, even then, getting referrals from those people that we've worked with in the past, number one activity by far. What that owner of the restaurant taught me, he said, Carl, you're not in the mortgage business or you're not in the real estate business. You're in the marketing to your database business. You happen to be marketing mortgages or real estate or real estate services, but you're not a realtor, you're not a loan officer, you're a marketing to your database person. And brother, that was a game changer. It really was.
It's funny because what you just mentioned, I think, is a deterrent to a lot of people. Is maybe the transaction didn't go as smoothly as we hope or we like or they usually do, but every problem when you're in the midst of a real estate transaction is amplified because of the stress levels that the buyers and the sellers and the realtors and the lenders are under during that compressed 30-ish day timeline. But to your point, what we've noticed is we've started marketing to our database more often and more systematically, is that they forget that once they get into the house, those problems are washed away like waves in the sand. And what they remember is that you were the one that helped them get into their house that they love. And so tactically, if you're a real estate agent today and say you've been doing it for several years and you've got a pretty decent sphere of influence or you've got a decent database, what are you going to do? What should they be doing to market to their database?
All right. And by the way, I don't know about you, but for me, dude, it never goes as well as I wanted it to, right? I mean, even if it closed in 15 days, man, I wanted it to close in 3. All right. So it never goes as well as we want it to. And that's okay. And you're right. People have very short memories that people like me and you, Brian, where we're, I don't want to say perfectionists, but we certainly pursue perfection, right? That's why you're outstanding lender in the Southeast. And so one thing to keep in mind is our clients likely don't hold the bar quite as high as you do, as I do, some of you listening as you do. And that even if it seems like it goes horribly wrong, they have a short memory. They get in the house, they're sitting there on the back porch, and they only remember the good. We don't remember the bad things, most of us. We just remember the good. So for me, marketing to my past database really is just staying in front of them. And for me, there's 4 ways to do that, or 4 primary ways to do it. There's the phone call, which I believe in calling 4 times a year. So we call 2 letters of the alphabet every Wednesday. So this week we'd call the A's and the B's. Next week we'd call the C's and the D's last name. Next week the E's and the F's. And with there being 52 weeks in the year and 26 letters in the alphabet, that's 4 times a year. And if that little voice on your shoulder says you're calling too often by doing that, just flick that son of a gun off. That's not too, because dude, they're already getting 4 or 5 or 10 or 35 calls a day. One of them happens to be you 4 times a year. That's not too often. By the way, we measured this in my own business. When we called 1 time a year, we got more business. When we called 2, even more. 3, yet more. 4, even more. We tried 5, no difference. 6, no difference. So we went back to 4. So 4 is where we saw the peak amount of people. And a problem sometimes with calling the database. I know for me, when I first started calling, dude, I might have 1 person or 2 people say, man, don't call me again. And so I then stopped calling the other 100, 50, 200, 5,000, whatever your number is. And so learning not to let 1 or 2 people or a handful of people dictate how I market to the rest of my database was a big deal for me. It's a funny thing. We can, Brian, we can have a great concert and we got 100 people in the audience and 98 of them are standing up at the end and giving you a standing ovation. You got 2 in the background going, boo, hiss. And our attention goes to the 2 and not the 98. And it's just learning not to do that, I think, is an essential part of being a successful.
I want to touch on that, on what you said too, because a lot of the people that are going to be watching this video don't know you and the scale of what your business is. And for you guys that are watching this, you need to understand what Carl is describing is not a small data set. I mean, Carl runs a business that's, I don't know, 5 times the size of my business, and I would consider my business to be decently sized. And so these are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of clients that they've tested this with. Yeah. And it's not just hey, I called 5 people and my key number's 4. This is data specific. This is tried and true over a number of years in growing your business. So the numbers are, if you're saying to me that you've tested it and 4 is the number, guys, 4 is the number.
Yeah. You don't have to rediscover that, because I don't know if you know this or not, Brian, but my college degree is actually chemistry, believe it or not. And so I'm a testing fanatic. And so I love testing stuff. So Yeah, four was definitely the magic number, and you're right. This was tested on a database of tens of thousands. For us as a past data. By the way, I've heard nothing but dude, I've watched your business grow, and see how the people in your branch and the people dealing with you, dude. You're doing a fantastic job. You've really held the bar high, and it's yeah, don't cut yourself short, man. It's you've just done unbelievable, and the amount of business you're doing is impressive. So the phone calls is number one. The other thing that we do is we do a mailer. So we do a monthly mailer, and it's a very simple thing. It can be something as simple. And actually, we stole it. We got the idea from Joe Girard, which Joe Girard is, if you open up the Guinness's Book of World Records and look world's greatest salesman, he's literally the Guinness's Book of World Records greatest salesman.
Car salesman, right?
Yeah, that's right. He was a car salesman. He sold 13,000 cars in 10 years, one at a time, no fleet, belly to belly. And in his book, he spelled out the number one thing that he attributed that to, and it was a simple monthly mailer. And on that mailer, it would just say happy insert in holiday for the month, like happy 4th of July, happy St. Patrick's Day, whatever, happy Labor Day, whatever. I like you, Joe, signed his name to it. And then, for us, we put our business cards that has all our phone numbers and licenses. That's it. That's the mailer. Very, very, very simple.
And so the pushback you're going to get is, I mean, Carl, that's kind of cheesy. Like what? There's no call to action. There's no anything. Like, what, you want me to mail 12 times a year to my past clients?
So you know why we do that? Because the guy that is the number one in the Guinness's Book of World Records as the world's best salesperson that holds the record for selling cars. Again, selling cars, houses, shoes, it's all the same thing.
Yep.
So that's exactly what he told me to do. And until I'm in the Guinness's Book of World Records taking over his position, I'm going to do it. Look, if somebody's in front of you, do exactly what they're doing until you catch up with them. Then you can start testing different things. But we've sent all kinds of different mailers out, and that little I like you. Now, just be honest with you, we modernized it a little bit. And so we put the Facebook little thumbs up kind of logo-ish on there. And so on the outside, you see the I like you with the Facebook thumbs up. And then on the inside, happy 4th of July, Carl White, insert in business card.
So if you're a real estate agent, this would be one of the read things, right? This is one of the things that you could delegate.
Oh, for sure. Oh absolutely. Like in any of these, like look, a local print shop will do this. Like what we do is we print up one card, and actually I don't even do it. Like somebody in my office does it. I like you, Carl, and no, I like you on the outside. So happy insert in holiday, Carl. And then we take it to the print shop, print up whatever 40,000 or whatever, 100, 200, whatever your number is, and send that thing out. So yeah, I don't do it. I 100% delegate that out, because while somebody's doing that, look, the number one thing that you, me, and anybody can listen to this today, the number one thing we can do is be having conversations, right? That's where we make our money, having conversations. And so anything I'm doing that's taking me away, anything you're doing that's taking you away from having conversations, yeah, you want to delegate that out. So phone calls, the mailers, we do emails. We do a weekly email, like what's happening in the area. Honestly, we've done studies, and there's a famous study of that MailChimp did, and we find that the mailers are the least effective of any communications today. Now, 10 years ago, email was kind of a big deal. 20 years ago, dude, I remember coming home from work to open up my email real quick to see what I got. It was like, oh my gosh, you got mail. It was like, oh, goody. But that's not the case anymore. So again, I wouldn't stop sending out an email if I'm already doing it, but that would not be the first thing that I would set up, because it tends to be the least effective.
Now, when you're talking about sending emails out, that's going to be one of the easiest things to automate, right? And so most people have a CRM that they can tap into and set up the weekly recurring. But when you're talking about the what's happening around here concept, that's different. You're talking about, Friday afternoon, you shoot a quick video. and coming up with a few different things that people may be interested in, and then emailing that out through a system like BombBomb, or if you don't have BombBomb, through your CRM.
Or through our CRM. Like our CRM is the one that actually blasts it. We just upload a new email to it each week. And it's just, yeah, it's just like what's happening in our area. And what we do is we pick one thing artsy fartsy. We pick one thing adult-ish, but not controversial. And then we pick one thing for the kids. So 3 things, what's happening in the area. And frankly, we just go on the local, the Tampa Bay News or whatever the newspaper is. They got a little section on their website of what's happening in Tampa Bay. And that's where we get our content for what's happening this weekend. And I think that, and by the way, we send it out on Thursday. So we record it on Wednesday, send it out on Thursday so that people can see it, before the weekend. I think more than anything though, Brian, it just kind of shows like a big part of your marketing should be, I'm a real person just like you. I'm a real person just like you. And that's a very important message to send out to your database. And by showing them that artsy fartsy, adult-ish, but not controversial, something for the kids, it shows that you're well-rounded, you're a fun person, and people like to do business with fun people. I don't care if you go to these things or not this weekend by the yourself per se, but it just I don't know, it just shows that you're apple pie baseball. I think that's an important message to send out. I do. And then the 4th thing that we do, so we do the calls, we do the mailers, we do the emails, what's happening this weekend in our area. And the 4th thing we do is Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads are different than what most people think, because what you can do is you can upload your past database. So let's say you have a past database of 300 people. You can upload that list into Facebook and send an ad out that only they see, but they don't know that. So they might think that you're the king or queen of Facebook, and they see you everywhere they go on Facebook, but that's not true. You're only in front of them. And for like 300 people in a past database, that might cost you, I don't know, maybe $30 a month, maybe for 300 people. And Facebook is the new TV. I mean, it really is. That's where the people spend so much time on that now. Like, dude, you're at the coffee shop, you're waiting for your coffee to come. What do? You open up Facebook just to see what's going on, right? And then every time I do that, if I see Brian's advertising to me on Facebook, and it's like, oh, we bought our house last time, or we did our loan last time, in your case with Brian, and I'm constantly reminded of you every day because I see your thing come on my news feed as if we're even if we're not friends, but as if we're friends, simply by you spending a couple dollars uploading a list to Facebook. And now the non-interested people, the people that I don't want to market, I'm not paying for their eyeballs. For those realtors that are like have billboards on the side of the road, the problem is you have people that are never, ever going to buy a house.
Did I lose you?
House for so only they see your ad.
That to me is one of the best things, because a lot of realtors that I talk to and deal with shy away from spending money on branding type advertising because they think it's going to cost $1,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
Well, if you go consumer direct, not to your past database, without loading up a list, it'll cost you large sums of money, and will be highly, highly, highly ineffective. So I've spent, I think the last time we looked, which was about 3 weeks ago, I think I'm up to $927,000 that I've spent on Facebook ads, almost $1 million of my own personal money for my own personal ads. So this is not an agency of running ads for realtors or loan officers. This is my own personal ads for my own personal money. And man, I have learned that going consumer direct is not the way to do it. That getting lists and uploading, or if you got like a target neighborhood, like if you have a list, you need a name, you need either a cell phone or an email address. So you need a name and a cell phone and or an email address. If you have that, like, dude, you could have that for your local church. Like if you go to a church or and you have a roster of all the church members, you can have it so all those members of that church see one set of ads. Your past database, and only your past database, sees another set of ads, or if you've got a target neighborhood, as long as you've got an email, I don't know how you'll do that, but as long as you have a name, email, and phone number, you can have so those people see your Facebook ads for literally pennies. But understand that it still relies on a phone call. That even though people on my Facebook ads see my ads, and we do get incoming traffic directly from the Facebook ads, it's when it's put in combination with it's when it's put in combination with the phone calls, with the emails, with the mailers, and then the Facebook ads. When you do that combination of all four of those things, man, it's a game over. Which sounds like a lot of work, but again, it's the primary way to be marketing, and this is what your time is spent doing. Like this is stuff that gives you this is the 20%.
If you're a realtor who doesn't have a 300-person database of past clients, would the same content and the same theory be able to be applied to their sphere of influence?
Oh, dude, grab your cell phone, and all those names and phone numbers that you in your contact your cell phone. That's where your database starts. Go to your Facebook and look at your 197 friends on Facebook. That's where, dude, we all started with a database of 0. Hell, when I started, I had no quote past database either. So I started with.
What do you say to the realtor that's timid about calling their friends and family and sphere of influence, pitching their real estate services?
You better get used to not making money. If you think, look, if you think I don't want to be calling my friends and family, then you just hate money. I'm just telling you, you just hate money. Because if you call your friends and family, dude, here's the way I look at that thing, man. That's a great question, Brian. It's like when we're helping our friends and family, we're not pitching our service. We're offering to help them, right? We're offering to guide them with what's likely their biggest transaction of their life, which is their house. Hell, for most of Americans, that is their life savings is their house. You're offering to help them with that, with somebody that they can trust, right? And if you're saying, well, dude, I don't want to bug them, so I'm going to let them make what might be a dumb move through somebody else that's just strictly trying to get a commission check, you're going to let your friends do that? Dude, that'd be like, I'm on the side of the road with a flat tire, and you come up behind me with a trailer full of tires, and I don't want to stop and ask Carl if he needs help with his flat tire. I don't want to seem salesy. He's like, dude, I need a tire. Help me. You know what I'm saying?
Good analogy.
Yeah. So, look, good salespeople think selling is a good thing. Bad salespeople think selling is a bad thing. You're offering to help people. My gosh, don't be bashful about that. Help them. They want some honest and good help. And be their solution. Be part of their solution. Yeah. If you don't ask, you're not going to go very far. I can tell you that right now.
And just as an aside to this, guys, if you want help from me with content on and structuring your Facebook ads, I'm happy to do it. Feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you do that because I think it's beneficial. And then Carl, so
dude, I just want to look, anytime somebody can pick up the phone and hang out with Brian, that's going to be a good use of their time. I promise you. So it's no secret. I talk to hundreds and hundreds or thousands of very top marketers in the nation on all kinds of different businesses, Brian. And dude, you're like a class act, man. You got a really good thing going on over there. You build a world-class team. You guys got it going on, man. So it'd be a very good use of somebody's time to hang out with you. You're a very humble guy, and that's part of what makes you so awesome. But that'd be a very good use of somebody's time.
So do you have, thank you for that. But do you have any final thoughts before we sign off here for realtors? I mean, not time period specific, like we haven't talked about anything to do with coronavirus or anything else that's going on. I mean, any final thoughts for a realtor if they're out trying to grow their business right now?
Yeah, don't let COI rob you of your greatness. So a lot of people think ROI, which is return on investment. That's the name of the game, ROI. What's the ROI on this? What's the ROI on that? And that is a big deal. That's not where it's won or lost, though. Where it's won or lost is COI, which is the cost of inactivity, right? The cost of inactivity. That's where it's made or lost right there, cost of inactivity. So I'm going to tell you right now, marketing to your database, even if it's just now starting out people at your church, the soccer field, friends and family, whoever's on Facebook, whoever's in the contact of your phone, man, call them, mail them, email them, and Facebook at them. You get those 4 things going. Don't let the fear of man, just let me end it there. Don't let fear stand in your way of doing it, right? Just do it anyway. It'll do you well. It'll look, we got the easiest job in the world. Everybody's listening. We got the easiest job in the world. All we got to do is talk and type. Talk and type. That's all we're doing. And we can have a life of our dreams, literally millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, more than brain surgeons or top dentists or top attorneys. And we can make more than all of those people. And all we got to do is talk and type, right? That's all we got to do. It's just a real simple little thing. I remember one day, and Brian, you probably heard this story. I was leaving the office and thought I had a hard day, and I got in my car. I was sitting in the parking lot, and I kind of put my hands in my head and go, man, this is hard sometimes, right? And I heard God tell me, he said, you need to look up for a second. So I looked out my window, and I saw 4 dudes on the top of a roof, tar mopping a roof. And if you don't know what tar mopping is, here in Florida, it's when it's August, it's hot, and you got a bucket of tar with mops, and you're spreading it on this roof, and the fumes, and it's spitting at you, and the mosquitoes, and it's sunburn. That's hard. I heard God say, Carl, that's hard. That's hard work. You want hard work? That's hard work. And if you, by the way, if you want me to make that happen for you, Carl, I can make that happen for you, right? I'm asking you to do 3 things. He told me: talk, type, and think. I'm asking you to do those 3 things. You do those 3 things, and I'll bless you beyond your wildest dreams. So I hope it's okay me saying it, but that's exactly how it happened. And man, we got the easiest job alive. We just got to talk and type. So talk and type and start telling people how you can help them and spread the message and hang out with other successful people like yourself, Brian. That's just, man, you are who you hang out with. So if you have a chance to hang out with Brian and some of the people he hangs out with, that'd be a really, really good thing to do.
I appreciate that, Carl. Carl, man, thank you very much for your time. This is the stuff that it seems so simple, yet it takes a lot for a lot of people to implement. So it seems like we've got a systematic approach. There's a 4-step process. I'll detail that out in the commentary on the email below. But again, guys, if you want to reach out to me for any of the content that you need, I'm happy to help. Carl, brother, thank you very much for your time, man.
Dude, it's an absolute honor. Love the podcast. And boy, I've been sharing this with my friends, and I recommend our listeners do that too. Just an excellent content. So appreciate you letting me be here, my brother.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. See you next time.